I want to talk to you guys about one of the most profitable and exciting crops for market gardeners today. And I'm not talking about weed, I'm talking about ginger. I've visited a few farms over the last year that have really blown my mind with this amazing crop. And I've learned a lot about it. And I'm going to share that with you guys today. I've got a bunch of ginger behind me here. And this is actually a crop that, a seed crop that I've borrowed from John Hofer at Wise Earth Farm. And he's essentially got, this was his excess. So he's got too much of it sprouting. And he's lent me these flats. And so what I'm going to do today, and while I'm doing this, we'll just kind of talk shop about ginger itself, is I'm going to plant the sprouts, but I'm actually going to leave the original roots. And because they'll keep sprouting. That's the beautiful thing about this crop. So in this video, I'm going to be planting some ginger. I've got a bed here that I'm going to prep. I'm going to show you guys what I'm going to do. And we're going to talk about this crop and how amazingly profitable it can be for market gardeners. And I'd love to see more people grow it because I think it could be, well, it seems to be a really good niche market in that this is a very unique ginger product. Like, we've probably all had ginger at some point in time, but to grow fresh ginger is very different than to buy, say, a conventional ginger like this. This kind of got the brown sort of crust, or it's almost like a bark on it. That's what you typically see in the grocery stores, and that's actually what you can use to start your own ginger. You just got to make sure you buy certified organic ginger, because if it isn't certified organic, it won't sprout. There's something that they spray on it that inhibits its ability to regrow. So I don't know much about that. I just know that conventional ginger won't sprout. And all we're really doing here to start your ginger, so what you're starting with originally is just a piece of ginger. Again, it's got to be certified organic. And the way John does it here at Wise Earth is he fills up 2-inch deep 10-20 flats. And are they drainage? Do these ones drain? No, they don't. So these ones don't drain. And you fill it up with some soil, just a little bed of soil. And it looks like it's just a standard potting mix. I don't think there's anything too complicated with this. Put a little layer of soil, put in your ginger, and then put more soil, cover it up really good, pack it down, and then just water it and keep it moist. That's going to trigger the sprouting. So typically you would do that you could start that in the winter, like at least past the winter solstice, when the daylight is getting longer. You could technically start this in February. And you're not really going to put it in the ground until you got at least 10 degrees Celsius. So, I don't know, whatever that is in Fahrenheit, approximately 10 degrees past freezing. And so for us, that's around probably April in a greenhouse. So you could do this in a high tunnel. And the crop really, really likes warm soil. And the warmer, the better. And the guys at Le Jardin de Funambule and at La Ferme de Quatre-Temps, 2 farms that I visited in Quebec that are doing this. They were doing it really hot. They were doing it in a hothouse where they do the tomatoes in individual beds, but then another piece of plastic over top of it. So JM Fortier, that's how he's doing it. And the guys at Jardin de Funambule, they were at the time I shot this video, and I will put 2 of these videos. I'll do separate videos on these another time. This one's going to be sort of consolidated information that I've gathered from both of these guys. At the time, Vincent Lafleur at Le Jardin de Funambule was just doing an Agribon or a Rime fabric over top. And in the previous year, they did it with a plastic. They said they got way better results doing the plastic, just like JM Fortier. Where essentially you're just hanging that over top. And so, your ambient temperature in a hothouse like that, where you're doing tomatoes or eggplants or peppers, is going to be around 28 Celsius. So that's sort of the optimum temperature. And you want to have in your ginger crop even hotter, like mid to high 30s with more humidity. That's the key with getting a good crop. But let's get my bed going here with ginger, and I'll talk a little bit more about the crop. So ginger likes really fertile and moist soil. So what I've got here now is basically compost. I filled these beds up in the spring, and I had a pepper crop in here for a little while, but that crop's out now. So I'm just gonna prep this bed up, and I'm gonna put some fertilizer in here, and then I'm gonna put some compost in, and then I'm gonna plant into that. Ginger loves potassium. They say you can spread 400 kilos of potassium per hectare with a ginger crop. So I'm not going to get too complicated with the numbers here, but I am going to put down a good amount of potassium with this product called Sustain. It's a 464. So I'm going to put some of that down first, then I'm going to put a couple inches of compost on top of that, and then I'm going to plant right in there. And I'm going to do it pretty tight in the row, but I'm going to do 2 rows. This is effectively a 30-inch bed. I'm going to do 2 rows, put the ginger right up against each other in the rows, but then have the 2 rows probably spaced about a foot apart. I'm going to put drip irrigation in here as well. But that's the way Jean Martin is doing it. That's the way Vincent Lafleur is doing it. John Hofer at Wise Earth, he's doing 3 rows, but I think he's not as hip to this recent information about ginger. I'm sure next year he'll try the 2 rows and then adding the poly on top. So what I'm actually going to do here, I might not get it done in this video, but I'm going to put another little low tunnel over this bed to make this hotter and more humid than the rest of the greenhouse. Because in the rest of this greenhouse, I actually want to reduce my humidity. I don't like it when it's too humid in here. I don't want to be in here when it's too humid. So I'm going to isolate that environment to here in the bed. So I'm being pretty generous with this stuff. Because the beautiful thing about organic fertilizers is you can't really overdo it. You know, all these things are relatively slow release. Though this fertilizer is actually, as far as a organic fertilizer, it's fairly quick release. So I'm going to be pretty generous. And the thing too with this ginger, according to my market gardener friends who are doing it, is fertilizing throughout works really well as well. And what Vincent and Jean Martin are doing is they are fertilizing throughout the crop. So they get the crop in, and then about once a month, they're re-fertilizing again, and they're doing it with the, it's called the BioDisc implement for the TerraTech 2-row tine rake, or not tine rake, for the 2-row wheel hoe. And they're fertilizing next to the rows, and then they're using the BioDisc to hill up. And they're doing that about once a month with chicken manure, essentially, which is very rich in potassium. Very similar to this fertilizer. This is a composted turkey manure. I've been using this fertilizer for many years. I love this stuff for pretty much everything I do. And so that's how Vincent and Jean Martin are doing it. So I'm going to try to mimic the same thing here. I'm not going to use the TerraTech tine rake in this bed area, but I'll do it by hand. And here's the other thing that's important to point out with what I'm doing is I'm going into fall. Like, we're late summer right now, but I'm going into fall. So I'm not expecting to grow this crop and harvest it this winter. This crop is basically going in because I've got a bunch of stuff that is sprouting that John Hofer at Wise Earth Farm can't use this right now. So I might as well put it in here. And once we get into March, it'll really start growing again. But I'm basically just putting it in here to sit like it would be in a nursery over the winter. Now I got my compost. I'm going to just start dumping it on top. This is typically what I would be doing at the beginning of the season
is just this exact process. With my raised beds, put on some fertilizer, finish with compost. Now, with this ginger crop, the yields are pretty high. According to Vincent Lafleur, they're getting 300 kilos off a 100-foot bed. So that's 2 rows. And, you know, that's over 600 pounds per bed. And so they're selling this at kind of between anywhere between $22 and $40 a kilo. Sort of the $40 a kilo would be maybe more your retail price, and your $20 a kilo would be your, you know, your bottom end sort of wholesale price. Perhaps restaurants or anybody that's buying volume, maybe grocery stores or something like that. So that's amazing. And, you know, you just do the math there. If you have, let's just call it $30 a kilo, if you can get 300 kilos off a 100-foot bed, you can sell it for $30. That's $9,000 off a 100-foot bed. That's a very profitable crop. While I'm raking this bed out, here's a segment from yesterday. I was out at Wise Earth Farm checking out their ginger crop.
Just a kilometer or so down from my house in Kelowna, BC, I'm at Wise Earth Farm here, and behind me is their current ginger crop. And I believe it was last year I did a video with John Hofer about his ginger, and at that time they were interplanting it with tomatoes, and I see that they're not doing that this year, and I don't know the specific reason for that. John isn't here at the moment. I just kind of popped in, as he lets me do on his farm. I suspect it's because they're both heavy feeders and you probably get a lot more yield by not interplanting it. Now, I do know interplanting works. People do it. But when you're talking about a crop that can get the kind of yields that I'm going to tell you guys about, I think it's better to just do it this way. So here at Wise Earth, they're on 30-inch beds, standard market garden beds. They're doing it here at 3 rows per bed. But the 2 other farms I visited that I mentioned earlier, they were doing it at 2 rows. So I think it depends on how you want to do it. And we'll talk more about that.
So you can see that Wise Earth is doing it a little bit differently than Jean Martin and Vincent, but kind of gives you a bit of greater context. You know, it's been working for them. I'm not exactly sure what kind of yields they've been getting over there, but I think going forward, John's probably going to implement what they're doing at these other 2 farms. Okay, now that I've got that raked out, I'm just going to make myself 2 rows. Just going to use my hands. One row. Two rows. Make them a little bit deeper. Okay, let's grab a flat of this stuff and just start kind of pulling it apart and sticking it in. So this, the brown part is the original. So I'm going to kind of break that off, and John's going to keep that and he's going to plant that again. So I'm putting this in row really, really tight, right next to the other one. And you'll see that I'm basically just left with rows of what looks like grass, essentially. So again, I'm just pulling these out, and then I get just break off that soft root, take the sprouts, essentially, and plant these guys. And we can plant them really tight. And I'm going to water this in right away once I get these guys in the ground. And then I'll eventually just put some drip irrigation on here too, so that I can keep it consistently watered, because that's really important with ginger, is it needs to stay moist. See, I'm just breaking off that part, I'll leave that for John. He can reuse it. See, now I got all these leftover pieces there. I just break that off gently, and then I've got that nice root piece there. I'll start on this row too. I'll just work both rows as I go along. So that's what's left over, just all these chunks. And so, you know, we'll basically put some more soil in here and keep this moist, and theoretically they should just keep sprouting. But the question is how long can they sprout for, and I don't exactly know. So just to speed up the process a little bit, I'm gonna just break them and drop them down where they're gonna go, and then I can transplant a little bit faster, just kind of streamline the process a little bit. I've also got some turmeric, and I'm thinking about doing the same thing. I bought a bunch of organic turmeric the other day, and I'm gonna sprout it up just exactly the same as this. I mean, it's a rhizome, just like ginger, so, you know, I think I should be able just to do the same thing. I love turmeric. We put it in our smoothies and our juices all the time, and so, you know, at this point, if we can grow our own ginger and turmeric, I grow lemons, though I didn't really have a good lemon year this year. I got an apple tree in the backyard. You know, I'm trying to get to a point where everything that we put in our daily juice or smoothie, we can grow right here on the homestead. And there's something that I just love about that. Is it totally practical? Is it totally economical? I don't exactly know, but I know from a lifestyle perspective, I love it. And I love knowing what we're eating, and I love our kids to be involved in all of that process, to see it, the whole life cycle. There's so much to be learned in that it's something I definitely want to share with my family. So I'm just kind of putting this ginger back and covering it back up with soil, and maybe I'll take some fresh soil and put it on top of this as well. Okay, so we're all planted out here, and this is what's left over. It basically just the original pieces of ginger that they sprouted. So I'm just gonna cover these back up. I'll probably put some new soil, just some new potting soil on top. No need to fertilize or anything like that. I'll just put new potting soil on top so they're all good and buried, and then I'll give them a nice watering, and then these will potentially keep sprouting, which is cool. John tells me that they'll go for a while. Actually, here's a perfect example. Once it gets kind of once it's spent, you get this sort of hollowed out. Sorry about the focus there. You get this kind of hollowed out piece. It's just like almost like it's like a pillowcase. It's like that original skin is on there, and it's just kind of spent. So I'm sure at that point they're no longer growing. But when you see these like chunks that have a lot in there, there's still a lot of girth in them, they'll probably keep growing for a while. So who knows how long you can actually do this for. I mean, it's pretty amazing to think that, you know, I didn't really do anything to that to plant all of this. So this is 4, 8, that's 12 feet, 2 rows of ginger, and we'll see how that goes. You know, if I'm thinking about the yields that some of the guys got on this, they got 300 kilos off 100 feet. Then this is about 10% of that, so maybe I'll get 30 to 40 kilos off this, but we'll see. But we won't really know until summer next year. So this is just going to kind of grow slowly all winter, and then probably by April and May next year it'll start pumping again. So hope you guys liked that video. I will do 2 more videos about ginger again. I'll do one with Vincent Lafleur and one with Jean-Martin Fortier. Those will come out later at some point, but I thought I'd do this one, kind of share with you guys what I've learned so far. All right, we'll see you in the next video.